Right, the Easter holidays are here. Hurrah for the kids. Yay for me trying to make content with them under my feet. Though, fortunately, mine are all teenagers now and prefer to sleep half the day away so we can still get on. Some, however, will be taking the 2-week school break to get away from it all. We'll have planned a wee foreign holiday in Europe, perhaps. Kids off on a school trip to the continent, maybe for the first time they've ever done so. All very exciting stuff, very much anticipated, I'm sure, for a great many families who will have been saving for some time to get away from it all. I'm certainly not going to begrudge people getting out of this mad island for a while, as not all will be able to do so, and not all have the cash to do so regularly. However, the holiday begins for those travelling with a little bit of a wait at Dover right now to get on the ferries. Of course, it would be very easy to blame extra holiday traffic, all these coach trips for the holdups, wouldn't it? With kids on coaches as well as other people going up to 5 hours without food or water, thanks to these holdups, these backlogs that have cropped up. One story reportedly told of a group of teachers going to a local pizza place to grab food and water to take back to the coach because nothing's being provided at the moment as people are stuck in traffic. So if you're not doing much to help people stuck through no fault of their own, as Kent rapidly starts to resemble a car park again, sympathy with the Port of Dover and the ferry companies wanes pretty quickly. So who are the ferry companies blaming for it then? Bad weather creating a backlog ahead of the holidays was part of the story. With the holiday traffic reaching the point of Dover, has had to declare a critical incident over it because of the sheer amount of it that's ended up backing up, waiting times reaching 14 hours, along with blaming the French, of course, for not being able to process people arriving fast enough. Of course, this is absolutely who the Tory politicians have gone after, naturally. Would you ever doubt it? The Tory MP for Dover, Natalie Elphicke, went straight for the French. She tweeted out, "Incredibly disappointing to see French border control problems once again adding to traffic mayhem just as families are trying to get away from the Easter holidays." I'm sure that'll come as great comfort to people stuck in queues across your constituency. It's also rancidly dishonest, as the Port of Dover CEO himself spelled out. He said, "The difference of being in a post-Brexit environment means that every passport has to be checked before a vehicle or a passenger can cross into the European Union through France. And that happens here in Dover. So it does make processing more challenging." So he blames Brexit then, does he? But Damo, we left the EU already. We'd left the EU last year. This level of problem didn't exist last year, did it? And you might be thinking that, and yes, the Port of Dover does admit to being busier this year. But they've also stated they're no busier this year than they were in 2018, except we still had free movement then. Think about it. Previously, where you were able to be waved through, dangling your passports out of the window, now if you're on a coach of 50 people, instead of them being able to keep on rolling, it now has to stop. People need to disembark. Each of them need to be processed, something that only takes 30 seconds per person typically. But for a coachload of 50 people, you're talking roughly 25 minutes there. You can see how a backlog can build up, and that's assuming every traveller is a straightforward case and there aren't any snags in their being processed. Here's the thing, though. The ferry companies, the local Tory MP, they're being dishonest as hell when they're blaming the French for the holdups, because all this processing, all these passport checks, as the Port of Dover CEO said in his interview with Sky that I quoted a moment ago, they happen on this side of the border. The checks are done in Dover. It isn't French border control, really, when border control is here, before travellers even get to France. So any blaming of the EU is excusing yet another Brexit failure, exposes how ending of freedom of movement has impacted us, as people were warned it would, all mixed with some casual racism and Euro bashing. Adding insult to injury, though, is that the Tories were warned this would all happen, and a possible solution to it was offered to them, simply to double the number of passport control booths at Dover. It would have cost just £33 million, or 1,000th of a Dido Harding-led track and trace scheme for scale, and passengers could be processed literally twice as fast as they are being now. The Tories rejected it. They didn't want it. This border mess is an entirely Tory-created one because they're too tin-eared to pay attention and listen to people who actually understand what's going on, who work there. They've underestimated and mishandled the situation, just as they have with every aspect of Brexit since it got implemented, cack-handedly all the way as it has been by them. Brexiteers like Natalie Elphicke will seek to blame others. Deportation freak Suella Braverman was on the studio tours this Sunday morning, and she denied these delays were an adverse effect of Brexit too. They're lying to you. Trust the people that work there, not the people that inflicted this mess on the country, because think about it, after 13 years in power, when was the last time you saw a Tory take responsibility for anything that has gone wrong in this country across all of that time? Probably the most tin-eared take I've seen about this story this morning came from ardent Brexiteer and author of many a piss-taking tweet, John Redwood, when he tweeted out, "Why not take a holiday break in the UK to avoid the delays in France? Plenty of great places to stay." Sure, John. For one, the delays are in Dover, not France. And for two, how many of these great places to stay haven't had sewage dumped all over them by your lot? Perhaps people want to get away from that too. It does stink a bit. In 2016, we voted for this. We voted for Brexit, and we voted for Brexit being handled by the Tories, and this is what they've done with it. Travel restrictions were always sold to us as affecting people travelling here. But the emphasis was never on us being able to travel anywhere else being restricted. But that is exactly what we voted for. And as a result, it is now incredibly difficult to escape Tory Britain, now having to stop, have the passport checked, get it stamped. But if you think this is bad, it's going to get even worse thanks to something else we've signed up to off the back of Brexit again, which comes into force from November of this year. And it's called the Entry-Exit Scheme. And this would require all non-EU nationals, i.e. all of us, to start registering our biometric data with the EU, consisting of facial biometric data and fingerprints. How long is that going to take to do? Estimates are that a car full of 5 people could be held up for 10 minutes while this takes place. So roughly half the time a coach load of kids is taking right now. 50 people on a coach, scale it up, I suppose that's 25 minutes it's taking right now, causing the delays that have triggered the declaration of a critical incident. From November, that could take 100 minutes to do one coach. 4 times longer, 4 times the size of the delays. They won't be counted in hours anymore, will they? They'll be counted in days instead. This is absolute madness, and all this government can do is suggest staying here instead or blaming the French. The UK is being run by idiots, and we're being taken for fools by them. So who are the bigger fools here for accepting that? Them or us? Thanks for watching. If you appreciated this video, please do hit like and subscribe, leave a comment and hit the notification bell too so you don't miss the next one. Also look out for me on social media and other interesting stuff by clicking on the Linktree link in the comments below. And I will see you next time. Cheers, folks.